Welcome to another presentation on cybersecurity tips where I discuss unusual tips and tricks to increase your privacy and security. Today, we will focus on cloud storage and services. The typical advice you may have received regarding cloud storage and services may include backing up your files to the cloud is a good option because cloud is secure method of storing your important data outside of your premises. Cloud storage is reliable. Cloud-based services are powerful than local services, and the companies like Google, Microsoft, and Apple can be trusted. Today, I will shatter some of these statements as I have observed over the last couple of years that it is far from the truth. Let's look at cloud storage and services, which includes items such as Office 365, Adobe Creative Cloud, Google Docs, iCloud, etc., as well as services such as Google Translate, Pushbullet, Grammarly, etc. Most people don't even think that Google Translate, Pushbullet, and Grammarly as cloud services because oftentimes we use such programs using a web browser or some kind of a interface that doesn't necessarily show us how much data being stored, processed, and transmitted. For example, every single time you put something on Google Translate, Google servers sometimes use that information in the real time as well as by storing that information in the future to get their translation mechanism working better and better every time. So to improve the Google Translate, they are using your data, your information that you inputted into Google Translate. Pushbullet is a program that is used to push data across multiple devices regardless of the platform. Again, they do keep copies of the data that you send on their servers. Grammarly has been exposed to not only read your private information but also use that information to improve their technologies in assisting their customers with grammar errors and spelling errors, etc. So whenever you have the Grammarly software installed, you cannot have expectation of privacy, especially with sensitive information. Cloud is basically storing your data in someone else's equipment. So in other words, you do not actually have the complete control over the data that you are putting into the cloud or the data that you use with cloud services. Cloud-based or cloud hosted services are not as secure as they claim to be as a result of it because they do store your information outside of your control. Cloud backups may lead to privacy breaches, for example, even if you intentionally put something on the cloud. An example of such would be the iCloud cloud leaks that happened a few years back, as well as some Google and other leaks that happened over the years. Your data may be and can be even used for machine learning and artificial intelligence algorithms. For example, Google Translate, Pushbullet, Grammarly, they all use your data to improve their machine learning models and improve their artificial intelligence models. There's also the issue of reliability and availability of the cloud services. You may put something on, let's say, Microsoft OneDrive, and then when the OneDrive become unavailable due to some kind of a technical glitch on the Microsoft end, you may lose access to your data. So it is not as reliable as they claim to be, even though the cybersecurity experts are saying no, it is reliable sometimes. For example, last a few years there has been several cases where Microsoft Teams, OneDrive, everything went offline for hours at a time. And your cloud data is not really yours at the end of the day because these guys are actually holding onto that data which you don't even have the access to even access at the first place and then delete it or do something with it. Especially during outages, there's absolutely no control over your data or access. Another problem with cloud services is that because you are storing data in someone else's services, you agree to their terms and conditions. In other words, the plan's terms, conditions may change without a notice or with a very limited notice. The best example I can give you is the Google Docs for businesses, and some of the Google programs for businesses have changed from completely free versions to either limited versions or paid versions if you are using a certain certain features within it. So Google had some free versions before, free things, but now they are basically paid at the end of the day. Another problem with cloud storage and services is the government and law enforcement overreach with cloud storage and cloud services. In my opinion, is much easier for the government to reach, government to reach into your data and look for it. Basically, it is much easier for them to access your data and maybe even use against you. Finally, the cost. As plans and terms changes, the conditions changes, you may have to upgrade your plan and therefore costing more money when you are using cloud services and storage. So my question to you is, why not use local storage? Local storage can be used to keep a backup of your data on a physical local drive. It could be a simple hard drive or a thumb drive. At the end of the day, it is yours and you own it. Arguments such as fire, theft, in a premise is far in between. So some people may argue, well, don't keep a backup at your house because, well, it's not really a backup because your backup and your computer at the same place. I don't believe that's a huge issue because fires are far in between. One of the other simplest way, if you really want to go beyond that, is to use an external hard drives connected to a network, so that everybody in the house, everybody in the office can back up to that external hard drive, or use a network attached storage device so that everybody can back up their data to that one single location within your premises. You can also create remote site-to-site backup as well. In order to do that, only thing you need basically a site-to-site VPN capable routers on either end, a good internet connection, and a little bit of networking know-how. You can get an IT friend to help you out to do this. And if you have your house and your parents' house in the same city, for example, it will be much easier and maybe even faster to send data between the two homes. So it is pretty simple to set up a site-to-site VPN connection and remote backup. Nowadays, you just need to know a little bit of networking know-how. Without any help from big boys like Apple, Google, Microsoft, anybody, you can set up remote site-to-site VPN in a fraction of the cost in the long run. At the end of the day, by doing so, you own your data. In other words, you are protecting your own data and your privacy is protected in your hands. You will always have access to that data because it is your data and your either external hard drive, NAS drive, or a site-to-site VPN backup storage. And it cannot be used for machine learning and artificial intelligence by anybody unless you give them explicit access. When it's come to the point government and law enforcement overreach, it is limited because they require more search warrants and other things in order to get access to that data. And depending on where you are in the world, you may even have more autonomy or rights to protect your own data, such as in United States. Maybe you will have additional layers of legal protection because you hold on to your data instead of putting into a cloud storage. At the end of the day, the cost associated with keeping your own backup storage or site-to-site VPN is higher initially, but in the long run, for example, if you do it for 5 6 years like I have been doing for the last 20 some years, it is cheaper and it is better overall. Another thing I want to focus on is that when you have computers and laptops or any electronic devices, cell phones, even smartwatch, you need to check the settings, especially for default settings for cloud services and storage. Please check the settings of your computers for cloud backup, storage, and transmission and change them based on what you want to do, because your mobile device may be backing up stuff to the cloud and transmitting all your data without you knowing about it, because by default or by accident you have agreed uh, to uh, to that terms and conditions. Please remove or disable or limit all automatic cloud backup features such as Microsoft OneDrive and Apple iCloud unless you really want to back your stuff to the cloud, because you believe in that your cloud services are secure enough for you. But at the end of the day, I don't believe any cloud services from any of these big boys are actually secure whatsoever. So if I'm going to do this, I will completely remove or disable automatic cloud backup altogether. But if you want to do it, you can actually do it at a limited basis as well. For example, you could have one folder on your Microsoft computer that is OneDrive, and only items that you drop into that folder will get backed up to Microsoft OneDrive. Rest of your computer has nothing to do with Microsoft OneDrive. You can set that thing that way as of now, 2025 April. Disable or uninstall any AI tools and features whenever possible. It may not be possible on certain cell phones, it may not be possible with Windows 11, but you can at least disable. If you can't actually uninstall the AI tools, you may be able to disable those features so it is not spitting all your personal data onto their cloud services. Again, I already mentioned isolate backup and upload folders, like you put it into a OneDrive folder. And one more thing that a lot of people forget is the dangers of messaging and file sharing applications such as Google messages and even iMessages, because there is a danger of those messaging applications sharing data with the servers and storing that data, and maybe those data get breached and leaked into the internet. So files shared using messaging applications such as Facebook Messenger, iMessages may be stored and accessed by companies, may be stored and accessed by law enforcement, may be stored by accessed by bad guys when there is a data breach. So whenever you are sharing any files using messaging applications, pictures, documents, etc., keep in mind that information may be stored, most likely is stored by these companies and can be accessed and processed and stored by those companies. Those are basically can cause any privacy and security breaches. And please find maybe alternatives whenever you don't like certain cloud and backup features in a product. For example, I don't like iMessages, I don't like Google Messages, so I can go and find the regular general text messages and application and then use that instead. So especially on Android phones, there is no enforcement to use Facebook messages or the WhatsApp messages or anything. I can simply use the SMS text messages, for example. Of course, law enforcement may be able to read your SMS text messages, but it's still secure than using another third party such as the Facebook to babysit your data. Here is the overview of the key take-home message. You can pause this video to read it. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me. Please thumbs up this video and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, thank you so much.